Hi, this is Mia with the Dartmouth Student Wellness Center. This is day 5 of ReCentering, a 7-day yoga challenge. In today's class, we will explore various subtle arm balances and back bends, both of which take a bit of strength and courage. The strength comes in as we work on stabilizing our weight in our arms and our core, and the courage, on the other hand, may come in many forms. We may need the courage to try something new and challenging, or we may need the courage to let go of trying to strive to reach a final outcome and instead meet ourselves where we are with grace and a sense of playfulness. For today's practice, if you have a belt or a rolled up towel, just something that can kind of provide some length for you that you can grip both sides, that will be helpful. And we hope you enjoy. See you on the mat. For this practice, we will begin seated on our heels. And we're going to start by centering ourselves. Taking that right hand over your heart and that left hand over your belly. Focusing on your breath here. And while in our class today, we'll be moving through some postures that encourage physical strength. Remember that it starts within. You can allow your eyes to close or a gentle gaze on the floor. And we're going to try a 4-part breath to begin. And what that means is our inhale, the hold at the top, our exhale, and the hold at the bottom. Those 4 parts are all the same length. So we're going to try to do those for 4 seconds. So take a deep breath in, exhale as you release. And now we're going to try to inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale as you for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale as you release 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold at the bottom for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now allow your breath to return to normal. Beautiful job with our 4-part breath. And as you, with your next inhale, we're going to begin to move. Let's reach those arms up over your head, interlacing those fingers to reach up above, stretching that back. Finding our first baby back bend of today's class. Opening up those hands nice and wide. Bring that left hand to the right knee and gaze over that right shoulder. Continuing to move with your breath here. Let's inhale as you reach those arms out wide. Exhale as you bring that right hand to the left knee, gazing over that left shoulder. Inhale as you release, taking those arms out wide, planting that right hand on the ground. Let's reach that left arm over your head, finding length in your side body here. Finding that space between your ribs. This is another way that we bend. Inhale, rise, switching sides, plant that left hand. Reach that right hand over your head. Opening up that space on the right side body. And as you inhale, you're going to reach those hands up over your head and then bow forward, allowing yourself to find a kind of version of a child's pose here. Slowly begin to walk your hands back towards your knees. And we're going to interlace our fingers behind us here, reaching our knuckles down for the ground as we lift our gaze, finding that bend in our back. Inhale as you release and pitch over to find your child's pose, extending those arms forward. Now from here, we're finding our length on our mat. Begin to walk those fingertips forward so those forearms are planted on the ground in front of you. Inhale as you lift through your hips and lower those hips down to the mat, finding your Sphinx pose where you're lifted on those forearms, shoulders tucked down away from your ears. Exhale as you release. You just found a baby back bend there. Bringing your hands beneath your shoulders as you inhale, let's gently press the ground away from us. Slowly lift our hips off the mat. Finding a nice spinal wave here as we shift our weight back towards our heels, finding your child pose. Taking a moment to return to your breath here. Slowly begin to walk your hands back towards your knees. Taking a moment, inhale to rise, standing on your heels or standing on your knees here. I invite you to bring your belt into the situation, taking that right hand, taking the belt or a towel or t-shirt into that right hand. We're going to take that left hand to the small of our back. See if you can find the end of your strap or belt. And we're going to begin to open up the shoulders here. So that right hand on top, left hand on bottom, pressing our hips forward. I'm rotating so you can see what's happening here. Rotating forward, keeping that spine nice and long. And seeing if you can inch your hands towards each other. Maybe finding a bind. Taking a second to release, shake out those arms. We're going to do that on the opposite side. So taking the belt in your left hand, up over your head here. That right hand goes to the small of your back, seeing if you can find the end of the belt or the string or whatever it is that you're using as a prop today. Now with both hands holding opposite ends, see if you can walk your hands up and down the length here, getting closer and closer to each other, opening up those shoulders. Very nice. Holding for another breath. With your next inhale, let's release and shake it out. We're going to leave the belt at the side of our mat for now, because we will be returning to it later. I'm going to turn so I'm back the right way on my mat. And from here, I invite you to bring your thumbs to the small of your back so your other four fingers are facing the front of your mat. Begin to press your hands into your hips, shifting your hips forward, finding a baby back bend here, or a variation on camel. Inhale as you release. Find your length, standing nice and tall on your knees here. As you inhale, find that length. Exhale, begin to press your hips forward. Find that baby back bend. Beautiful. Now, for a second, we're going to exhale as we lower down to our seat. What we were just doing was a modified version of camel. Now we're going to see if we can make it to our full camel. So taking your hands, we're going to wrap them around our heels or our ankles. And as you inhale, we want our weight to be in our shins and our knees. As we inhale and we lift our chest, finding that bend in our back, beginning to press our hips forward until we are finding that rounded shape, lifting high here, holding for a breath. And as you exhale, slowly melt those hips back down to your heels, finding that child's pose, bending over your knees, reaching those arms forward. Beautiful. From here, continue to walk your hands forward. We're going to lift almost to a tabletop position, finding a supported plank with your knees planted. Exhale as you bend at your elbows, lowering your heart space and your torso down to the mat. Press the ground away from you gently as you find a baby cobra or your full cobra. Finding another bend for your back here, keeping your chest forward, those shoulders down away from your ears, finding that space here. And we're going to begin to find that spinal wave again, moving from the hips first, beginning to press those hips back towards the heels, rounding and dropping those the hips to your heels. Finding that child's pose. As you inhale, let's slowly rise to our tabletop position. Begin to tuck your toes. And as you inhale, we're going to rise to find your first downward facing dog. Take a moment here to walk your dog. As you inhale, we're going to gently lift that right leg. We don't need to lift it too high. And as you exhale, we're going to shift our weight into our hips and plant or help that right foot forward. Preparing for warrior one, we're going to drop that left heel down at a 45-degree angle. We have a straight line down the middle of our mat. Big toe to our right big toe to our right big heel, our right heel, back to our left heel. And as we inhale, we're going to rise, standing here in your warrior. Beautiful. Now for a quick systems check, our toes are both pointing towards the front of our mat, back foot at a 45-degree angle. Our knees are pointing forward. That right hip is drawing back, left hip pushing forward to find your nice square hips here. We're going to interlace our fingers behind our back here. As you exhale, you want to find a non-moving object to maintain your balance here. Exhale as you begin to hinge at the hips. Imagine that your right shoulder is trying to find your right knee, your right elbow. Nope, knee. Yes, your knee. If you're having some trouble balancing here, you can widen your stance, drawing that left leg to the outer edge of your mat. Begin to lower that shoulder here, finding your humble warrior. Beautiful. Now, as we are here, we've shifted the weight into that front right leg. So we're strengthening that right leg. Let's give that one a break. Inhale to rise, standing tall. Exhale, plant your hands around that right foot. Left foot, we want to be on the ball of the foot here. And we're going to step our right foot back to meet the left, finding our downward facing dog. As you inhale, shift your weight forward to a plank position. Drop those knees, untuck the toes. Exhale as you bend at the elbows, slow and controlled, keeping those elbows tucked to your rib cage. Palms beneath your shoulders. Inhale, gently press the ground away from you. Find that spinal roll, weight in your hands, and then shifting to your hips, back to your child's pose. Exhale as you relax in your child's pose for a few breaths. With your next inhale, let's slowly rise to our tabletop position. Tuck those toes and extend those legs, finding your downward facing dog. Alternating, taking this moment to pedal out the feet again. When you're ready, find your stillness in your downward facing dog. And as you inhale, let's float that left leg up. Doesn't have to be too high. Exhale as you tuck your chin to your chest. And then step that left foot, planting between your front hands, or planting between your palms. As we prepare for Warrior One, we want to drop that right heel down at a 45-degree angle. Again, this imaginary straight line running down the middle of our mat. Our left big toe, our left ankle to our right ankle. As you inhale, let's rise to find our warrior. Doing our systems check from our feet. That left foot, toes pointing front. Right foot, toes 45-degree angles to the side. Both heels pointing to the front of our mat. Our left hip drawing back. Right hip drawing forward, so we have our square hips here. Those arms elevated and extended up above. We don't want that knee going past our toes here. I invite you to interlace your fingers behind your back. And we're going for our humble warrior on the opposite side. So we're going to bring that left shoulder to meet our knee as we exhale. Standing in your power, in your humble warrior. Again, if you need to widen your stance to help you balance, you can always move that right foot closer to the right edge of your mat. Taking a few more breaths here. Again, we're strengthening and also focusing on flexibility, but in this moment, we're strengthening this left leg here. Inhale as we release, reaching those hands up to find that warrior once again. Exhale as you plant the hands to frame that left foot. Rotate to the right toes or ball of your right foot and step that left foot back to meet the right. Taking a moment here to pedal out your feet. Inhale as you shift your weight forward to your plank. Drop those knees, untuck the toes. Keeping those shoulders close, those elbows close to your rib cage. Let's bend at the elbows, lowering our body down to the mat. Inhale as you press the ground away from you, finding your cobra or your upward facing dog. And we're going to spinal wave, moving those hips first to press back to our child's pose. Beautiful work. We have found our humble warrior on our left and our right. As you inhale, let's rise to our tabletop, tuck those toes, and find your downward facing dog. Inhale as you gaze to the top of your mat. Exhale as you walk your feet to meet your hands, finding a forward fold. As you inhale, let's rise to stand nice and tall. And bring those hands through heart center and then open at your sides. So like we did while we were kneeling, we're going to do a baby back bend here. With our thumbs at the small of our back and our 4 fingers at the front of our hips, we're going to press into our thumbs, shifting our hips forward, finding a baby back bend here. Allowing our head to become heavy, back nice and long. Inhale and release to stand nice and tall. As you exhale, let's slowly lower, coming to a seated position. We're going to have our left leg extended in front of us here. And we're going to take our left hand and plant it behind our back with our fingers facing the back of our mat. With that right foot beside your knee, the right foot outside that left knee, we're going to begin to shift our weight into our left hand and our left foot, taking that right hand to reach up and over our head. We're moving into wild thing. As you inhale, we're going to challenge ourselves here to reach that right hand up and over our head, finding your wild thing. As you exhale, it's slow and controlled, lower back down to our mat. Not quite our back bend, but we are still bending. We're going to do that again on the left side, that left hand firmly planted, shifting your weight into your left side body, reaching that right hand up over your head. Let's find that length, using that right foot to support your weight, opening up that right side body. Exhale as you lower. Beautiful work. Taking a moment, extend that right leg. We're going to shake it out here. We're going to find our wild thing on the opposite side. So we're going to bring that left foot to the left sole of our foot, right outside of that right knee. This right hand at the back of our mat, reaching that left arm up and over our head. Begin to shift your weight into that right side body and reach that hand up as you inhale, up and over your head. Beautiful, holding for a breath. As you exhale, slow and controlled. Lower back to your mat. Hold, taking this moment to be with your breath in through your nose and out through your nose or your mouth. One more time. Now we're going to move through our wild thing one more time, with reaching that left hand up over your head. Imagine somebody is pulling that left hand up and over your head as we inhale, reaching up, reaching that left hand back up over our heads, holding for a breath. Beautiful. Exhale as we slowly lower. And now we're going to bring that right foot to meet the left. And just take a moment to melt over your legs here. Giving yourself a hug. Just finding that counter pose. Now, similar to the wild thing, we're going to move to a table. We're just not quite a back bend, but it's similar. This time, we're going to plant our hands behind us. So our our shoulders are in line with our wrists. And our toes and our fingers are pointing in the same direction to the top of our mat. As you inhale, first we want to make sure that our heels, our feet, and our hands are both about shoulder width apart or hip width apart. And as you inhale, we're going to press our weight into our hands and our feet, lifting our hips off the mat, finding your table. I'm going to see if we can keep those hips lifted, find that straight line. Hold for a breath. And as you exhale, we're slowly going to lower our hips back down to the mat. Take a second to give yourself a hug here. Beautiful work so far here. As you inhale, we're going to find that length. We're moving to our table one more time. Our fingers and our toes facing the same direction. As you inhale, lift those hips off the mat, finding that length, finding that table. Beautiful. Holding for 3 breaths here. As you exhale, let's slowly lower our hips back down to the mat. Giving ourselves our hug here. Now we are going to cross our legs, Plant our hands in front of us and pull through to come back to our tabletop for a moment. With both Wild Thing and our table just now, we were pressing our hips forward. So we want to find that counter pose, that opposite direction, moving into our child's pose, making yourself as small as possible here, reaching those arms towards your feet, forehead resting on the mat. Finding that space in your low back here. A moment of relief. Bringing your hands back in front of your head here. Let's lift to our table. And we're going to move through some cat-cows. So inhale, lift your gaze, round out the belly. Exhale as you tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, lift your gaze, drop the belly. Exhale as you tuck your chin to your chest, finding that space between the shoulder blades. One more time, inhale, lift your gaze, drop the belly. Exhale, chin to chest. Now from this position, we're going to lower to our child's pose and then begin to walk your hands forward so that your forearms are resting on the ground, even your chin and your chest. Finding your puppy pose for a moment here. With your next inhale, we're going to shift our weight forward into our forearms, plant those hips in the mat, and find your Sphinx pose. So your chest is lifted, your gaze is forward, shoulders tucked down, away from the ears. Exhale as you lower, and then bring your hands beneath your shoulders. We're going to tuck those toes, pressing up and through to find your downward facing dog. Inhale as you gaze to the top of your mat. Exhale as you step or hop your feet to meet your hands. Ragdolling here for a moment. Allow your head and your arms to become heavy, keeping a slight bend in your knees. And as you exhale, we're slowly going to bend, lowering to a seated position. Now we're going to come lengthwise on our mat. And while we're seated, we're going to keep our right foot in front. So we're going to open up our hips a bit here. So with your left hand, I invite you to take hold of your right foot. And with your right arm, we're going to create some support around the knee. You can gently rock side to side here, gently opening the hips. If you're not feeling this stretch here, you can also take it up a notch. And you can try to get the sole of your right foot in the crease of your elbow of your left arm. And then you can rock side to side here if that's available to you. Opening up the hips here. As you exhale, let's lower that right leg. And we're gonna extend both legs, taking a moment to shake it out. Finding that on the opposite side, we're gonna tuck that right leg under as we're crisscrossing. Our left foot is in front now. And like we did on the other side, we're gonna take that front foot or the left foot with our right hand, and that left arm is supporting our left leg. We can rock side to side here, gently opening up the hips. If you'd like to take it up a notch, you can try to get that sole of the foot into the bend of your right elbow. Really bringing that knee even closer to your chest, opening up the hips. But we are here to listen to our bodies as we move. As you exhale, we're going to extend our left leg and then extend the right leg. So now we're in a seated. We are seated in a straddle split here. As we inhale, we're going to sit nice and tall. Our hands are on the mat in front of us or the ground in front of us. And as we exhale, we're slowly going to begin to walk our hands forward. Perhaps just our hands stay on the mat. Or maybe our forearms make it down to the mat as we exhale. Listening to our body here as we bend, keeping those toes flexed if possible. With each breath, see if you can allow yourself to surrender to the pose. As you exhale, you find an even deeper expression, allowing those hips to loosen, or a deeper expression where you're more comfortable and you're listening to your body. You may even ease up a little bit. Whatever feels good in your body today. As you inhale, we're slowly going to begin to walk our hands back towards our core and our hips. And we're going to reach our right hand out towards our right foot. And reach that left arm over our head, finding our nice side stretch, bending in our straddle here. As you inhale, let's rise, finding that on the opposite side. So we're reaching that left hand for the left foot or ankle, reaching that right arm over your head. Finding that nice side body stretch. As you inhale, let's release. Taking a moment, opening those arms wide, shaking out those legs, and begin to bring them to center. As you bring them to center, you can wrap your arms around yourself, giving yourself a nice big hug here. As you inhale, we're going to open up those arms nice and wide. If you had your right arm on top, I want your left arm on top this time as you give yourself a hug. Gently rocking here. And finding ourselves lengthwise on our mat. We're going to use our hands to support ourselves as we lower our torso down to the mat. Now, I told you guys to keep your towel or your belt handy. This is where it comes into play. So we're going to try to create a loop with the belt, if your thing is long enough to do that. And creating a loop, we're going to bring our right knee into our chest. So our loop is in our right hand. And we're going to place the loop around our right foot here. So we are extending our right foot up to the ceiling or the sky. And if you have the space as you exhale, we're going to drop that hip open to the side. Now, the reason that we have the belt is to create some leverage and some support, focusing on keeping that hip nice and open and using that strap and that strength in your arm. Bring that right foot back to center. One more time. I'm just scooting because I need some space. We're going to open up that hip to the right. This is an active stretch. One more breath. Inhale as you rise. Very nice. Now on the opposite side, let's lower that right foot down to the mat. Extend the right foot to meet the left. Switch the hands that are holding the loop. Then we're going to take that loop, wrap it around our left foot, extending that left leg up to the sky. And as you exhale, we're going to allow that left leg to drop to the side, using that strap or that loop to hold wherever is comfortable for you as you stretch. Very nice. Yes, this is definitely a challenge. We approach these with courage. This is both strength and courage. As you inhale, let's bring that left leg back to center. Taking a moment, a full breath here. Before we do that one more time, as you exhale again, allow that left foot to drop out to the side, really stretching out that left hips or the left side body and the hip. Holding for 2 breaths here. As you inhale, let's bring that left foot back to center. Release the loop. We won't be needing that anymore. And drop that left foot down to the ground. Bending that right leg so now both knees are bent, both soles of the feet are on the floor. Gently rocking the knees side to side here. Getting a nice gentle massage for our low back. When you're ready, find stillness in this pose. And as you exhale, let's bring both of our knees into our chest. We can gently rock side to side for a moment here. And then we can find our happy baby, where we open up our hips. Imagine that your knees are trying to find your armpits. And we're going to thread our hands through to reach for the inside of our arch or the inside of our ankle. And we can gently rock side to side here in our happy baby. If you'd like, you can even alternate extending your left leg and then your right leg. Just listening to your body as you move. Gently rocking side to side here for another breath. And then slowly begin to bring those knees back to center. And with those arms wrapped around your knees, nice and tight, we're gonna make ourselves into a super small ball, chins tucked to our chest, forehead to our knees, even our toes are clenched, our shoulders are tight, super duper small. And as you inhale, we release. Taking a moment to note what this feels like. These two different experiences. One where you were making yourself super duper small and compressed and contracted. And this where you are open, reclined, taking up space. What does this feel like for you? As we find stillness here, we prepare for Shavasana. I invite you to bring your hands to rest at your sides with your palms facing upward. You're open to receiving energy, and palms facing downward if you feel like you need some more grounding. Taking a moment to bring your attention to your back. and your arms. We were challenging ourselves today, bending so we don't break, strengthening and becoming more flexible. Taking a moment to focus on our hips and our legs, thanking them for being our foundation in our practice. And with your next exhale, see if you can allow yourself to find stillness here. Becoming one with your breath. And if any thoughts arise, simply acknowledge them and then return to your breath. I encourage you to stay here in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. And whenever you're ready to close your practice, slowly begin to bring your awareness and movement back into your body with gentle wiggles of the fingers and toes, nodding your head to the left and to the right. Shrugging those shoulders, finding a bend in your knees. And when you're ready, bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Allow those knees to gently fall to one side. And find yourself in a fetal position. As you inhale, use that top hand to press into the ground to gently lift yourself to your seated position. As you inhale, let's slowly gather all this amazing energy around us with our arms. Bring the hands together, heart center. And in this moment, we express deep gratitude to our bodies for carrying us through this practice. We thank our breath for being our guide in our practice, reminding us to ebb and flow, to rise and fall. And most importantly, we thank ourselves for taking the time to be here with our breath and our body. For all that was mentioned and all that wasn't, we bow in thanks and gratitude. Namaste. Have a great rest of your day.